Hello traders, so quick recap and rundown. We'll get this done in about 2 minutes at best. So first we'll start with the Bitcoin. So during our live Q&A session today we talked about Bitcoin and we said that it has extended massively, and so what we did on the weekly time frame, we just put some fibs on there and we said it could get down to 27,450 on a pullback. So 30k round number to 27.5 would make a decent downside level. Said that today, and lo and behold, it just basically started to spike down. So we could well see this move down to here. Also, you can see the last fib extension levels are quoting about 30,000 to 32,000. So again, you can see from that last swing high, it's gone up in a straight line. Everything is overextended massively, so it does need to pull back, but it may well then pull back to a point where it potentially gives you or presents another buying opportunity. But it remains to be seen if that is going to be the case, or if this is just a bubble and the frenzy in cryptocurrency is going to be done and dusted for a few more months. Remains to be seen. This is a weekly time frame, so we're going to see what happens into the next week and the next few weeks, and also this month of January. Moving on, pound dollar cable. We've been successfully trading this all of this first week of January. Let's quickly take a look at the weekly time frame. So we have divergence on the weekly time frame, which is really important because we are at a key level, our 76.4. So we've been playing the 764 strategy on the weekly higher time frame as well, and we've got our first potential bearish candle which could see a decent drop. Now if we're looking at intraday levels and we're trying to gauge how much of a drop we're going to actually see and what sort of correction we'll get, easy enough to do if you zoom down to say a daily and a 4 hour. Let's quickly look at the daily here. So we'll have a quick look, zoom in, and you'll see that we have had divergence at 137, at $1.37. That's what we were trading initially, the divergent strategy, and we were looking for 134.85 because the pullback to the previous structure is at 134.82. So 134.85 makes for a decent first target. Then we had some sort of Elliott wave price action, which we noted on the 4 hour. So we had the first move down, which is wave 1 here, then we had the wave 2 pullback to the 76.4. Then it looked like it was going to give us a wave 3 here, but it's kind of stalled and stuttered, and you see it's just found some support, so it's failing to break this area at the minute. If it can break this lower 135 area, then I think we should get down to at least 135, an institutional round number, good midpoint between 130 and 140, so that'll be good. And then maybe it will go down and maybe it will rally up again and maybe start testing as high as 140, but remains to be seen. But if this Elliott wave is to play out, because it's still valid, if we are to see the move, then this is the sort of move we're going to see, a wave 1 pull back to wave 2, and then we're looking for this to kind of just break down and give us a decent move down to about 133, about 133.50 to be fair, something like that. And then that'll be a wave 4 pullback, which will be something like a 38.2 of this range. So between wave 2 and wave 3, whatever we get here, we should see some sort of a pullback like that, maybe back up to something like that, and then a wave 5 to finish, which could be something to that effect. So we'll see how it plays out, and then we'll go into some sort of ABC correction, which would be something like that. Something like that maybe, or down, or like slightly more sideways, but we'll see. That's what we're looking at for pound dollar. So I still feel that we've got more room to go to the downside, and we're quoting 135. I've been saying it all week. It's just we need to break this support because it's tested it once, twice, 3, 4, multiple times. So the next time it tests this area, it should just break, and if it does, it will fall quite hard because you can see it's been holding itself up quite nicely. If it doesn't break this area, then it's just going to continue to go up, and all of this will be invalid and invalidated, and we'll go to 137 and we'll start looking for further upside, which would give us the 139, 140 levels that we've just talked about, going up to those fib extensions, etc. So that's our take on pound dollar. So we'll see what happens when it opens. Very quickly, just to show the 1 hour time frame on the pound dollar, show that in a little bit more high definition, the way it's been, you know, the 61.8 of this last swing is providing a decent support area. So you can see multiple tests, so you can clearly see if it breaks. You know, we are testing, we are sat here waiting. If it starts to rally up, then maybe all bets are off. But you know, as long as we're trading below $1.36, I'd say that we still have a chance for further downside. If we start breaking 136, which we've tested multiple times, test, reject, test, reject. If we can hold above, particularly that last swing where we had the move up to the 76.4 of the last range. So if you take here the high and the low, you can see we got up to 136.30s right there, and then another 764 strategy dropped it down. So still got that bearish bias unless we start trading and floating above 136. I just want to show you that it's worth noting on the 1 hour time frame. Keep an eye on pound dollar and pound pairs over the next few days. Our next instrument that we want to look at, and that is also on our watch list, is gold. So let's start with the daily again. Let's do some top-down analysis. We may even show you the weekly, but just want to show you this actually on the daily. We've had this powerful push, double top, powerful push down, and is resting at 1837, which is a 38.2 of the last swing low to the last swing high. So last swing low down to 1450. And that was in March when we had the sell-off where hedge funds took their profit, which they needed to, because they needed to realise some capital because the markets were in free fall. So they needed to offset some of their huge losses that they were realising on their portfolio. And so they sold a massive chunk of gold because everybody was buying into gold thinking it was a safe haven. And that's what happened in March. It actually tanked as well, cleared out a ton of positions. And then it was a great buying opportunity. So 1450 last swing low to last swing high. And so the pullback that we've seen, which is still then in theory making a higher low, because this is the last low, which was a 50% pullback. The theory is that this could find support here around this 1840, 1850 area, and we could see some bullish momentum once more. So we're at an interesting point on the daily, definitely worth looking at, definitely worth sharing. You can see that like that. Let's have a quick look at the weekly, and we'll show you a little bit more what is going on up here. So we've had this massive move up. Let's get it like that. There we go, massive move up, and then we're making lower highs. So even though we've got a double top, this high that we made was actually lower than the previous. And this in this move down here, this one with our red arrow, which indicated a sell, was because of the COVID announcement with the vaccine. So we had the vaccine news, and then it tanked, didn't it? 1500 pips in one day, and then I was looking for further downside, and we got that. So we made a good bit of money back in November on this multiple times. Then we've had, you know, the retracement up, and we peaked at the double top, and now we're pointing down again. We had a big old sell-off due to, well, last few days back below the trend line, and so you know, we'll see what sort of price action we get. I'd look for a 76.4 of this range at least, down to about 1810, which could give us another 300 to 400 pip move from where it currently is sitting to the downside. But again, need to see what sort of price action we get when the market's open, so I won't be doing anything until tomorrow most likely. But definitely gold is the other one on our watch list, because it's moving really well, and there's lots of interesting price action that's happening with it. Just to show you really the move that we had off that 61.8, there's that double top that we talked about at the 61.8 key area, and you'll be saying to yourself, well, 61.8 of what? And it's like, well, 61.8 of that last move, that last swing high to that last swing low. And so you can see we had that pump up to 61.8 around 1956, 1960, and it couldn't get above it, and then it fell hard. So that's the range that we're playing in, and here, this range here, you see this impulsive drive up to retest the high. That we're going to measure that now, and I'm going to show you on the 1 hour. I've got it on the 1 hour because that was the 4 hour. I'm I'll show you the price action that we're talking about. So let's just scrunch this up a little bit. There you go. 1764.65 area is that 50% low that we had that keeps showing you on all the time frames, higher time frames. Then we've had this move up, and then we've had a first impulsive drive down, so that is then, you know, consolidates, and then another firm drop. Tested the 38.2 at 1885. That was my initial target level on Friday with non-farm payroll, but we'd already tested this with a big old drop at 8 o'clock London Open. So the next target was 1862, because that's a 50%. And so I was shorting and took multiple trades short to about 1863, and then I'd finished and I was done. But in actual fact, it kept on going, and it just went and went and went, and it went down to 1840, which I said, you know, if it breaks, 1840 is our next target, which is a 61.8. That's why it did what it did. Next target below, 1810, you can see why. It's our 76.4 at 1810. So if it is going to put in further downside, we are now looking at potential for it to do so. However, it's had a fantastic week of selling, and so you wouldn't be surprised if we had a little bit of a pullback to retest 1840, and then, you know, started making its way back up. So yeah, let's see. There are my that's my watch list for the week, for the next few days. Let's see how it all sets up and plays out. We should get some more opportunities to make some money. We're looking for about a 5 to 10% gain on the week if some of these setups play out, so it could be a decent week.